So, so this is the last video you have to watch when it comes to email designs, turning your graphic designer into email designers, and how to actually print from emails. So it's the unbeatable guide to crafting emails that sell. And as you can see here, I'm not a big fan of junior graphic designers that design your emails. You should have a dedicated email designer, or at least turn your junior graphic designer into someone who understands email designs. And the reason for that is pretty simple. It's just that graphic designers tend to design emails that look beautiful and everyone loves them except your reader. An email designer, they are highly specified in terms of their skill set. And when it comes to that, they can actually understand how to visually put your copy and visually put your headlines into an email that is high converting. That makes sense, right? The difference can actually be like 1.5, if not double the click-through rate when it comes to emails that are actually designed specifically in mind for emails and not just, designs that look beautiful. So I try to come up with something that is kicking everyone's butt when it comes to email design. I try to come up with I try to look up some design examples, some design videos. To be honest, there are not that many resources out there that actually sum it up when it comes to actually understanding and training up someone. So this is the kind of goal with this video. It's just for you to understand, okay, how does an email look like? What is the purpose of an email, and how to turn a graphic designer into an email designer. So close all your existing tabs, grab your favorite beverage and enjoy. So let's start with tips from highly skilled, highly specialized, and highly experienced team of designers that work with me at ecommerce.com. If you want to click, you see what we do. But basically, here's the skeleton of an email, which is kind of the first part. I'm going to cover how to design high converting emails that do not suck. I'm going to cover the skeleton of emails. I'm going to cover principles to follow. I'm going to cover best practices for deliverability, and also going to cover how to turn your junior graphic designer into an email design connoisseur. So here's the skeleton of an email, and this is the first thing that you have to understand. So you have headline. First of all, you have the hero image, which is basically the first scroll of an email, which is everything here. And here you have a headline, which is in that case Labor Day sale. You have a subheadline, which is 20% off with the code. And then you have a call to action, which basically shows people, okay, here I can click. Here you have a body text, then you have another call to action, you have product blocks, and then you have a footer with unsampling that you cannot see here. But basically, this is kind of the skeleton of the typical email that you see. The hero image here, headline, subheadline, call to action, body, call to action. This is the hierarchy that you need. And you can also work with like ChatGPT to come up with ideas for those copy styles. So basically, it's super small, just a little bit of copy, and then a little bit more copy, and then a call to action here and here. That's it. It's not super complicated. So it's broken down into, of course, logo, hero image, body, footer with unsub, all more detail, all of that I just covered. Here you can see some footer examples. So as you can see here, I didn't cover that, but basically the footer is like we use for the footer just basically some social proof and some unique selling points. So in that case, for example, here for this client, we had free shipping worldwide, we had certificate, we had 100+ year guarantee, we had limited edition, no restocks, and then the features that we had. Pretty simple, but this is just something to understand when it comes to emails. How does an email actually look like? Now let's talk a little bit about the first principle when it comes to designing emails, which is above the fold. So if you ever checked your phone, on desktop as well, but let's be honest, the majority of people will watch your emails on mobile. There's something called above the fold, which is basically if you open an email and you do not scroll at all, you just click on it and you see the first thing of the email. This is called above the fold. It's basically above the scroll. And you want to put everything that you have on there. It's also, if you want to actually think about that, it's actually on purpose. But the hero image is basically above the fold, and above the fold is basically the hero image. And we basically want to put everything that we know and we want them to know and everything that they need to click through on this page, like on this hero image. So in that case, they do not need to scroll down further. If, for example, you have a blog article that you talk a little bit about more, you can feel free to do some, hey, like either you want to give them everything that they need to click through, or you want to give them everything that they need to become curious about scrolling further. So that's kind of the purpose of the hero image. It's like a thumbnail, the first hook of an ad. It's pretty much like that. So you want to grab the attention, want to give everything that they need, and basically, keep on with their promise. Here, you can see the reader knows everything about what they need to know immediately. They know it's Labor Day sale. They know they get 20% off. They know the discount codes. They know where to click. Boom. And they also see delicious items. The next principle is the inverted pyramid. And it's basically, you probably also saw this image, which is quite funny because it's 100% true. It's basically understanding how someone, or like how the eyes and how the brain work. And basically what you want to do is you want to come up with an inverted angle where here you have the call to action, here you grab the attention with a high, big, bold headline, and then you basically come down with the attention, as you can see here. And you can also see that here it's like boom, boom, boom. Really, really important when it comes to understanding how basically the brain works and digests information. You start with an attention grabbing bigger font size, then some smaller context, and a call to action button. This is how our eyes scan an email. Designing with that in mind boosts your CTR. Here's a funny image that I think is 100% true, and it will help you design better emails because you understand where to put certain things in. The next principle that I need to address is mobile optimization. I see so many brands and even agencies out there that do not optimize for mobile. In the end, I can pull up some data. I think it's like 80% of your email traffic will be on mobile. You can even check that on Klaviyo, to be honest. But in this video, I wanted to cover kind of the designs. So this is an email that is kind of designed for mobile. It's hypothetically not 100% accurate because the call to action button is under, like below the fold, but still this is way better than, for example, if you look at the right, which probably the majority of your emails will look like. It's super small, so I even have to like zoom in to have things here. So essentially what you want to do is you want to understand that everything that looks perfect on desktop is way too small for mobile, especially on images and stuff. So you want to adjust that, create images dedicated to mobile, and also work on just in general the layout, optimized for mobile as well. So for example, those horizontal things are really, really hard to actually look at, which the majority of button checkout emails are, but you want to have it vertical instead. So think about verticals rather than horizontal, because horizontal on mobile looks awful. And for that, you definitely need to send previews of your email designs to your inbox and check them, because most of the time it's a shit show. Super small text, awful image placement, and CTA is too small to click on. 80% of your traffic is literally covered from mobile, so it might be worth optimizing for that. So here's what you, generally speaking, have to keep in mind. It's way more in depth, but it would rather overcomplicate things right now. For, let's say, the Pareto principle of email design when it comes to mobile optimization is literally that. So for hero image, you should adjust the call to actions. It looks kind of weird here, but this is how a desktop optimized call to action button looks like on mobile, and this is how it should look like. It looks super big right now just because of the image, but it's actually not that big. But you definitely need to adjust the call to action button and have one version for mobile and one version for text, for desktop. Especially for like images with a lot of tags, you definitely want to look at, okay, how does it look like on mobile, especially if your audience is a bit older, because it's just super small. Like it's just super small. Whenever something looks decent on desktop, it's just super small on mobile, so you want to have that adjusted. So font size needs to be adjusted. It needs to be around 18 or maybe 16 pixels, just depends on the copy and the copy style. Essentially, all visual hierarchies need to be double checked for mobile and adjusted. Careful, one note that a lot of agencies do out there, they overdo mobile and desktop only views. So what you can do in Klaviyo, you can, for example, use this image on mobile and the other image on just desktop. And then if you play around with like fonts and stuff and actual text and like mobile and desktop only, it's a lot of code basically. And what happens is that you might get clipped. And here's like just a way to click to see whether or not your emails are getting clipped. So you could just click on preview and test, and then you can see here the email size should be below, I think it's 102 kilobyte or something, or megabyte. I'm not 100% sure, but basically that's that. You need to double check that to be on the safe page. Let's talk a little bit about the best practices for deliverability. I think there's an ongoing discussion about full image emails versus image and text emails. In theory, in my opinion, it makes sense that email providers, they punish people for full image emails because they cannot check what you're sending while text can be checked. So they like that you send more text because then they can like double check that, and then based on the text that they check, they can then send you in spam or not. But otherwise, they just do not know what's happening on these emails. Therefore, they assume if someone is always sending images, there might be something wrong, because if they do not have to neglect, or like do not have to delete some of the copy, or like not use the copy, why would they use images all the time? You know, so that's why we try to keep the text to image ratio as high as possible, and something that you should probably do as well. You can do fully designed emails, but just have that in mind. What we do is we basically fully design the hero image, and for the body we use Klaviyo text and tools. Sometimes we use images there as well, but usually we try to keep things in Klaviyo, like use Klaviyo's, uh, the basically the editor. And as long as you follow those things and my deliverability guide, so if you want to check out the other video, I did a deliverability guide basically covering everything when it comes to deliverability, so you don't have to worry about that. Tools to design high converting emails. I see this very often, and in the end, it's just personal preference, to be honest. So what we do is we use Figma for the majority of our designs. It's quite easy to use. If there are small adjustments, the account manager can jump in. You can also send links over to clients. You have our resources and use graphics in one file. So if you repurpose things, you can just copy paste them. It's in your browser. In my opinion, it's just pretty sick. So you should probably stick to that. Otherwise, you can also use Photoshop or Canva. Canva is very simple and probably not suited for more complex designs. And then let's talk a little bit about how to train your graphic designer. Get them to study this document, first of all. So get them to understand, hey, we need to adjust for mobile, we need to adjust for desktop. There's something called above the fold. Oh, this is the hierarchy of an email. And then in the end, if it's a good graphic designer who understands good looking stuff, then they do not have to worry about anything else. To be honest, they just need to kind of get familiar with the space and get to familiar with kind of the best principles when it comes to email design. Also, you need a copywriter that understands, for example, this skeleton of an email. And then, because for example, hypothetically, if I put in like Labor Day sale starts today, check it out and enjoy 20% off all of your desserts while blah 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 blah. So you basically put a bunch of stuff in the headline. Your graphic designer is screwed because they cannot put this into something that looks good and is converting. So your copywriter needs to understand this as well. But get them to study this document. Let them consume a lot of emails. They just basically need to understand and feel the way of how emails work. That you should use like mail.com or really go to emails.com so they can like see how other brands doing that and how they basically crush it. Let them sign up to a few companies are crushing it for emails, and they will get better over time. This is at least how we basically trained up our junior graphic designer with the one brand that I mentioned earlier in this video. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you like this document. I hope you like this video. It was a lot of information. It didn't went into too much detail, like how to actually design, because I'm not a designer, but I covered all the principles that you need to understand when it comes to your emails. If you're a brand that wants banger designs that convert and email strategies that will leave you too profitable, so your only worries will be higher tax payments, just click the button in this video, in this document, on this video, in the description, whatever it is. Thank you so much. I hope this video was wonderful. Wish you a wonderful rest of the day. Talk soon.